you, and you are all sitting in wooden carved chairs in a grand hall. There are no windows. Um, there are that same kind of lavender light torches along the sides of the hallways, the long hallways. And in front of you are 7 shadowy figures with a black wispy smoke kind of forming around them, flowing around them. You cannot discern any sort of features. They do have, kind of humanoid. You might see like an arm wisp out here and there, but you can't tell. You can't see noses. You can't see ears. All you can see are white points, what appear to be eyes, in the heads of the smoky figures in front of you. Off to your right, sitting behind a large oak table, is a equally as large kind of calico tabaxi, who's wearing a nice linen suit, and he's got like a little bolo tie, and he's sitting there kind of puffing away on a pipe.
I love him. I'm in love with him. Is he against us?
Yeah, I think he's a prosecutor.
God damn it.
He's looking straight ahead,
Our prosecutor just had to be cute.
just kind of lost in thought. And after a little bit, he kind of looks over at you guys and sees that you're awake, and he says, "Oh, well, I suppose we should get started."
I'm just a humble chicken lawyer.
Yeah, I'm just a humble.
True detective.
And he reaches over and knocks his pipe against the edge of the table, and the kind of tobacco packed in there falls to the ground before he stands up and straightens his waistcoat. And he looks at the shadowy figures before him and he says, "Now, your honors, I understand our party here are outcasts, newly come to our land, so if you don't mind, I'm going to take a second to explain the proceedings to them, so they don't, to give them, a fair chance at a schooling trial."
Generous.
And he comes over to his table and he kind of leans as he looks over at you and he says, "Now, you all are on trial for several different charges. In a moment, I'll go through each one, and first you will get to plead either guilty or not guilty. If you plead guilty to any of the charges before you, then the maximum penalty will be taken off the table, and the lords of New Shadowfell will just have a medium penalty or a mild penalty to choose from in terms of those charges. Then I will argue for the kingdom against you, and you will get a chance to respond, taking each charge in turn. At the end, if you have any clarifying statements you'd like to make, I might have some questions for you, but the lords will be silent the entire time. Do you understand?"
Yes.
Very good. We do ask that you speak one at a time. Should you want to speak, of course, you may maintain silence during the entire proceedings, in which case the lords will just make their judgments based solely on my arguments. Now I'm going to read through the charges, and then we'll give you a chance to respond to each one in turn. Lords, are you ready to proceed?
I have a question.
Yes.
What if Not all the charges apply to all of us.
Then
Yeah, I'll go and get it.
Apologize for him. I don't know.
Sorry, I thought it muted the microphone. Did you hear me yelling?
you
Yeah.
did not, in fact, mute your microphone.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
He's autistic.
Yeah. We can't hear you. I do see that some of these charges do only apply to a few of you, so you will not receive punishment for any charge that you are not being charged with.
I have another question.
Yeah.
What if we have witnesses or people we want to bring in? Is that possible? Just curious.
I suppose it would depend on the circumstances.
Okay.
We could potentially look at delaying the trial another day, though the lords are very busy and I'm sure would like to get this done in one sitting.
Sure.
I am confident that I have everything I need.
Okay.
All right. Now again, I will read through the charges, and then you will get a chance to respond to each one. The charges currently stand at resisting arrest and attempted murder of a civil servant. Now, Luna, please raise your hand. You are not included in this charge. It should be noted that Luna turned herself in willingly, having heard that the rest of her party were being detained for the following crimes. Those are escapism, being in possession of an object or spell that could provide the means of escape, and having the knowledge to escape. And then we have tacked on here just a few days ago is a charge of livestock theft. Now, Boar, Chip, and Sorry, if you would please stand. How do you plead to the charge of resisting arrest and attempted murder of a civil servant?
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Nope.
Very good. Now, for all of you, how do you plead to the charge of escapism?
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
All right. And how about the charge of having the knowledge to escape?
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
What?
And being in possession of an object or spell that could provide the means of escape.
Not guilty.
What?
That's
Does Chip
wait,
speak
no.
for all of you?
I don't know what that is.
uh
I guess we are guilty on that one.
guilty.
Guilty.
No, not guilty.
No, Board doesn't know.
Boar. And you,
Well-
you plead not guilty?
For what?
We just
In,
met.
being in possession of an object or spell that could provide the means of escape.
No.
He's not guilty.
Let the record stand, Boar is pleading not guilty. And lastly, the charge of livestock theft.
Guilty.
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 What, like a cow?
I believe in this case, the livestock in question is a three-tailed dog.
No, fucking guilty.
Oh, that fucking dog.
It
I
was
didn't take that
tailed.
dog. didn't take that dog, and I hate it.
All right. Let the record show that they have pleaded not guilty to all charges except for the livestock theft.
And
And
another one.
Oh, and being in possession of an object or spell that could provide the means of escape.
I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but jeez,
It's our lives we're dealing with here.
yeah.
Very well. Now we shall deal with these charges one at a time. First being resisting arrest and attempted murder of a civil servant. Now, it has been documented by several of the staff here at New Shadowfell that the individuals, Boar, Chip, and Sari, wounded several of the castle's sacred servants and protectors, and shattered the skull of one Mr. Greaves, who had served as the head of the castle guard for several hundred years. They were, of course, given the opportunity to surrender so that they could face these charges like dignified, civil individuals, but they chose instead to bear arms and not only fight, but kill one of the eternal guards here at New Shadowfell. Self-proclaimed Faerunian flamers. What do you have to say?
What a stupid name.
Love that name.
What do you have to say in your defense?
We still have the collars on, right?
Yes, you still have your collars on.
Alright, well, all I know is that I woke up and I was in Chip's arms and I was surrounded by skeletons. And Sari said fight, so I thought they were in trouble. And so I just started punching. So I didn't. I thought they were bad guys. That's what I thought.
I
Boar, you are a slave, are you not?
Yeah.
And who are your current owners?
I mean, maybe these people, but my collar still belongs to Phineas.
Do you follow their commands?
Yeah, I guess.
Had they told you to not fight the individuals in front of you, do you believe you would have listened to them?
If they had said don't fight, would I have listened? Yeah.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Nailed it.
I think that we reacted in such a way as any other normal person would react when surrounded by these beings that transform what they look like, seemingly telling us to give up and to put us in a weak position. How were we supposed to know that they were a part of you guys? It seemed like we were being betrayed and we had to get out of there.
Now, sorry, when you say they transformed themselves, you mean they transformed into large, beastly creatures with long, fanged teeth and blood dripping from their claws?
Is that what you were told they turned into?
No, that's what I'm asking. That's the picture you've portrayed. I'm just asking you to clarify.
Well, yes, they were skeleton creatures that all of a sudden were in full plate armor with giant swords.
Plate armor.
Yeah, they seemed like they were aggressive.
Did that plate armor happen to possess the national colors of the Kingdom of School, signifying that they were acting on the kingdom's behalf?
I have no idea.
No idea. Have you encountered any of the officially sanctioned guards here in school?
Probably, but I'm not very good at paying attention, so I couldn't even tell you what the two colors of school are, and they're probably in this room somewhere.
Let it show that the Schoolian colors are not displayed in this room anywhere.
And Bor is innocent. He would not have done anything if we didn't say it. So whatever punishment, if you deem Bor guilty, I will do his punishment on his behalf.
As I'm sure the council is aware, any laws broken by slaves, the punishment shall be served to them and their masters in turn. But thank you, Sorry, for volunteering. I think that would be a testament to your character. Do you have any other statements regarding the resisting arrest and attempted murder of a civil servant?
Were the guards weapons drawn when we came into that room?
I'm afraid I was not there. But according to their statements, they offered you the chance to surrender, and you drew upon them.
Also, I would like the record to state that I offered them to put down their arms, and they continued to fight. So it looks like there was a miscommunication on both sides, some might say.
I would also like to say something.
Yes.
This is not my charge, but what I will say is that during our journey, in order to get everyone's memories back, I say that really loud and look across the ghosted figures, we came across many skeletons within that dungeon in order to get it back. And so I would imagine that it would be triggering to see to be surrounded by skeletons.
Indeed.
And that it would seem like to me, if I was there, I would also feel very threatened by a bunch of skeletons with swords drawn, regardless if they were telling us to surrender or not, because of what little we've seen in this world so far, and what has attacked us up until this point.
Yeah, why don't they start with you're under arrest for these charges instead of drawing their weapons?
According to the statements, they did, in fact, ask you to surrender before drawing their weapons.
But they didn't tell us why they were asking us to surrender.
I'm afraid, generally, when people are put under arrest, you start by telling them that they are under arrest. Now, Luna, there are a couple things I would like to discuss about what you just said. Had you had no interaction with any of the castle servants or Mr. Greaves before this moment?
Before what moment?
Before the moment of your arrest.
I had interactions with them.
You did. Did you notice any difference between Mr. Greaves' behavior or the other servants' behavior and that of the supposed skeletons you encountered on your fabled adventure against the memory monster?
I did notice differences from my interactions with them, but I was not there in that dungeon in which I was surrounded by them. So it seemed like a different kind of interaction to me. of seeing someone standing guard versus their swords drawn and coming at me. This seems a bit different, wouldn't you agree?
I would agree. I would indeed agree that anyone that had any previous interaction with Mr. Greaves or the castle servants would be able to tell the difference between them, their behavior, and those of any feral undead they might have encountered in any sort of dungeon or crypt. Now, I am not an adventurer myself, but every skeleton I've encountered with has been nothing but a kind and cordial individual. Shall we move on to the next charge, or is there more you would like to say?
I didn't mean to kill anyone, and I didn't know that you could even kill a skeleton.
Well, that brings me to my next point, Bor. Thank you for the easy transition. In the next couple charges, these individuals, with the exception of Bor, who are outcasts to this land, having arrived mere months ago. I'm not quite sure on the timeline there. But they may try and tell you, Council, that their ignorance of our laws is what is going to make them innocent in these charges. And I would like to remind you of why we have these laws and how ignorance of the law does not proclaim innocence. First,
I believe you're putting words in our mouths. We never said we were ignorant to your laws. I would like you not to speak for us, please. That is all.
well, there you have it right there. They claim to have full knowledge of our laws, and therefore acted knowledgeably. You may. I do retract my former statement. First, the charge of escapism. Now, let me just remind you, Council, why we have this terrible, terrible law. That why escapism is taken so seriously. Not only here in school, but in all the kingdoms of Earth. Let me remind you of Emperor Bovin, one of several leaders who have promised escape to their citizens. Emperor Bovin, who devoted all of Earth's resources to escape, leading to 100 years of famine and what is commonly referred to. And now I do apologize for any sensitive stomachs in the room, but this is what the people call it, and that is the age of charred children. Charred children. Let's just let that sink in for a moment. Charred children. Now that was a time when parents felt that they had no choice but to breed and sell their children for food, or in some cases to eat themselves, because all of our food and resources, all of the workers were working on escaping our fine planet. Now, as for the next two charges, Your Honor, I am not quite sure how to prosecute. There is no precedent for having the knowledge to escape or being in possession of an object or spell that could provide the means of escape, because all of the charges before have proved to be nothing but frauds. And that may be the case here. But according to Lord Berkshire's testimony, these individuals standing before you today fully believe that they both have the means to escape and have the knowledge to recreate those means given the chance. I'd like to remind you that our country is still dealing with the cult of Krask. Those who believe that by drowning themselves in the sea of stars, they can return to their homelands. We have lost countless lives to this cult and their leaders. And they have been proven to be nothing but frauds hoping to collect on their victims' inheritance. And the danger of word getting out here that these individuals could give out the means to escape, why that the danger is immeasurable. And made even more so that the Faerunian Flamers already have a following for their heroic deeds. And I ask you, lords, yes, these are heroes standing in front of us. Some of you may have had your precious memories returned because of their conquest against the memory monster. But that does not excuse the knowledge that they have. They could, given the chance, raise an army that would topple our fine kingdom. Just with the promise. You see, that's what's so dangerous. They don't even need to do it. All they have to do is say the word, and they'd have an army with them.
No, we wouldn't.
Now, we have their ship, their alleged means of escape. It has been studied by several scholars and the esteemed wizard Samwise the Wise. And neither our scholars nor Mr. the Wise are able to ascertain whether it is indeed capable of escaping our dimension. All right, now, they do know that this ship is much more complicated than any airship engine we've seen before. That the technology involved, the magic, the arcane artistry involved is far more complex than would be necessary for a simple airship. Now, unless one of these four can step forward. Yeah, I'm sorry. I do apologize. I almost discounted Boar, but Boar, if you would like to explain how their ship works, I'm more than happy to hear it. Unless they can explain and demonstrate the nature of their engine, we have no choice but to assume that what Chip told Lord Berkshire is true, and that ship is not only capable of arriving on Earth, but leaving it as well. And that is why I am asking. Oh, excuse me. That's why I'm asking for the maximum charge of escapism be laid upon these fine heroes today. Faerunian Flamers, you may now respond.
I would like to point out that you talked about people drowning themselves in seas trying to escape. You're talking to those type of victims right now. We are a victim of someone convincing us and manipulating us into creating something to escape this place. So do you put victims like that on trial? Is that something that you do? Because what we have been working on is not in our control. We have been manipulated. We've been threatened by my patron to doing what we've done.
Please elaborate. This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Well, no one's talked to us about it. They just threw us in jail. So it would have been nice for anyone to talk to us about it at all. But
I do believe Lord Berkshire did approach Chip and talked with him in private before the arrest was made.
okay.
Yeah, by waking me up in the middle of the night, and there were no other people around for witnesses.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is hard for me to judge other races' age. Chip, how old are you?
34. 31.
What's that?
I said 31.
31. And in human terms, you are a human, are you? Not?
Yes.
In human terms, does that make you an adult?
Yes.
So it is fine to question an adult on their own, as far as I know, unless in human terms being 31 would make you a child, in which case the presence of your parents would be required. Are you saying that Lord Berkshire's testimony is invalid because your parents were not there, Chip?
No, I'm saying that I thought it was just a normal conversation. If I was being interrogated, I feel like it should have been officially done.
I see. So we can only arrest criminals if they're officially interrogated, but if they confess to crimes to the highest ranking official that we have, but because it wasn't declared to be an official capacity, we cannot arrest them. Is that what you're saying, Chip?
I'm just talking about interrogations, not someone who's committed a crime.
I see. So we should disregard any confession unless the conversation starts with, "By the way, I am here on official capacity."
Yeah.
Either way, Chip has been and so has Tark, who, by the way, has passed due to the result, or due to this my patron who has attacked us. That is why he's dead. He's dead because he was not actually performing in the way that my patron expected, and so had him killed.
Linda, could you clarify
threatened.
for the council who this Tark individual is?
Tark was one of the people that helped us recover your memories. He's been along with us. He is a half orc. He had glamorous teeth. I mean, you've seen him, right? Around? No?
Oh, I'm sorry. The council cannot respond to any of your statements or questions.
Okay. He was with us. He came to us. He was came with us to this planet. He's been with us this whole time. I don't know how else to explain it.
No, that's very. Since he is not here with us today, I just wanted you to clarify for the council. You may continue.
We have been threatened and manipulated into building this ship the way that we have. It's in order for our patron to get off of this planet. He's been wanting to get off of it for a while. And I have the intelligence to create a ship. And Chip has the design, has the ability to design. We both work together. We all work together on this, except for Boar. Boar, we just met a couple days ago. He has nothing to do with this. He should not even be in on this charges. He just happened to be with us when all of this went down. However, Chip was under the influence of my patron when this was going on. He has threatened my family. He has used many types of spells in order to manipulate us and control us into doing what he wants. So you're speaking to victims here. We have not done anything wrong, not intentionally, not with our own actions, not with our own freedom. Everything has been what we've been told to do and what we have been threatened. And if you, in my shoes, with your family being threatened and being controlled, you would have done the same thing. You would have had to. You didn't have a choice.
Now, this is, of course, this is news to me, your lordships.
Everything is.
If you don't mind, I would like to ask a few clarifying questions. What was the nature of this control?
I was in control. So he has threatened my family. He has threatened to kill my daughter. Sorry. my other daughter, who is not with us right now, and he has been also. I'm not sure what kind of magic he's using. I'm not skilled enough to know exactly what kind of magic he's using. He's far more powerful than me, obviously. So
I would just like to distinguish the difference between now. I am not discounting the gravity of what you are stating here today, but I would like to differentiate the difference between being under threat and magical control.
both.
Both, very good.
Yeah.
And what was the nature of the magical control? He controlled your actions. He controlled your will.
I would say he controlled our will.
And what is the name of this patron, as you have referred to it as?
He has never given me his name.
How did he first appear to you?
He has been a part of my life since I can remember.
So it was under his direction that you created this ship,
Yes, sir.
and it was under his control that you brought it here.
Yes, sir.
Would you? Now I hear you, Luna, and if this is the case, I am willing to work with you on it. But do you have any sort of proof?
Well, Tark being dead, being one, I would say that would be him killing Tark because he would not do what he wanted.
Mm-hmm.
He was resisting. I would be a pretty big one.
We have a dead body.
We have a dead body. I'm trying to think of any other kind of proof. This wasn't something that.
Well, let me ask this, Chip. Were you under this being's control when you confessed to Lord Berkshire?
No, but that was only then that we had figured out how we had gotten here and why we were in this position.
So you're saying between the time of your confession, your arrest, and the trial today, you figured out that you had been some sort of mind controlled by some sort of mystical, unknown entity.
Yes.
I will say that I believe that I'm the only one that he's been actually threatening because he's been a part of my life for so long. I think everyone else has been controlled.
I see. So you, Luna, acted under threat, and Sorry and Chip acted under some sort of magical mind control, and Boar is merely your possession, who just happened to be around at the time of your arrest.
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Would you be willing, Luna, to submit yourself to a zone of truth to prove
Sure.
these statements to be true?
Sure.
Very good. We can do this right now. Of course, in this courtroom, we have a zone of truth right prepared. We have a rune circle prepared right here in the center. Luna, if you would please step forward.
I'll step forward.
As you can see, Lords, Luna has submitted herself to the zone of truth. Luna.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, Lords. I did not prepare this line of questioning. Bear with me a moment. Did your patron tell you to come here?
My patron is the reason I'm here.
And standing here now in the zone of truth, can you testify that everything you said before was, in fact, the truth?
As far as I know,
As far as you
definitely.
know, what?
As far as I've seen, it's all of that is definitely possible.
Now, we understand, and I'm sure the lords do as well, what is possible and what is not possible. What I'm asking is, can you, Luna, standing here now, in the zone of truth, tell me that everything you said before is, in fact, the truth?
I can tell you what has happened to me, what I testified has happened to me, the threats,
Mm-hmm.
and that he's the reason that Tarek died. The things that I saw, yes. As far as those that have been manipulated, from what I have not seen him do it, but I have that there are that it seems like it is um, definitely something that he is capable of. And like I said, I can't totally tell you that I viewed him using spells. That's not something that I saw. So that's hard for me to testify. However, I do know my experiences and my experience with him and how manipulative and controlling and evil he is.
Mm. And you know for a fact that he was using some sort of mind control on Chip.
From what, hmm,
Simple question. Did he tell you that he was mind controlling your friends?
he would never tell me that. He is not the type to just say things needlessly.
What
It is
evidence do you have that he was mind controlling specifically Chip when he spoke with Lady Berkshire, Lord Berkshire?
what evidence do I have?
Yeah. This is just a theory you've come up with in your mind. It seems possible, is what you're telling me.
Yes, sir. I don't have evidence. I don't know how I could have evidence. How could you have evidence that someone was being controlled? It's just that,
Well, you spoke so confidently.
well, yes, because I know my patron. I know what he's capable of. And I know what he's looking, when he wants something, he gets it, you see.
I see. I see. So you were all just puppets dancing to his will.
He has, on many occasions, made me do things I don't want to do.
And those things include creating a ship capable of coming and leaving here. He made you do that. It was
He
under
has been,
it was under
he has,
his direction.
oh, for fuck's sake, hold on.
Simple yes or no question.
He has been a huge part of the reason that we've made that, yeah.
But you designed this ship on your own.
I didn't design it on my own.
I'm sorry. I believe I'm confused. You did say that you came up with the technology yourself.
Yes.
So he did not provide the necessary knowledge to create this ship?
No, I mean, this is stuff that look, this is my, he does not have the knowledge I am. He's manipulating me. Oh, hold on. He does not possess the knowledge that I have. That's why he needs me.
So you do in fact have the knowledge.
Yeah, so we confessed to those crimes. I said we did have the knowledge. I mean, what kind of lawyer are you? You don't even know what we've confessed to and what we haven't?
I am a prosecutor, madam.
Well, a prosecutor then. I mean, whatever your job is, it just seems like this is a pretty important case and you really don't know.
I do agree. I do agree.
Right. So it'd be nice if you like were on top of it. Now we confessed to the crime that we did do, right? Like we know, but that doesn't mean that
Do you confess to
we
the
want to
crime of
use it in the way that
of being in possession of an object or spell that could provide the means of escape? Yes.
yes.
Now,
Well, I swear to fucking God, dude, this cat.
you
Sorry,
did-
not you. I'm sorry.
There's a cat keeps walking around.
Yes. I'm familiar with what cats are and the difference between my race, which is tabaxi. But you did not plead guilty to the crime of having the knowledge to escape. That you pled innocent to.
No, we pled guilty to that one. To having the knowledge to escape, we pled guilty to having the possession and mean to escape.
I see. So you are in fact guilty of having the knowledge to escape and being in possession of an object or spell that could provide the means of escape. That is your testimony. You are guilty of that.
The mean to escape, I believe, is where I'm hung up on.
The means to escape, being in possession of having the means to escape an object.
Of having the intention, right? Means is intention. And the problem that I have with that is whether or not, right? Like that, the intention, whether it was our intention or someone else's, that's...
Also, we don't have a ship right now.
No, yes, let the record show that they do not have a ship because they are currently in prison. They have currently been captured, and all of their possessions have been stripped of them.
Is there a ship though that you've confiscated from our possessions? Is there a ship anywhere?
Well, I suppose, Chip, that is a good point. No, we do not have a ship. But we do have your confession that you came in on a ship, and I believe you tricked or befuddled the council into rebuilding that ship for you using what I believe to be, or what I'm told is an engine that is capable of equipping that ship with the means of escape, of leaving our planet Earth. Is that correct, Chip?
There is no ship, though.
There is no ship. But the charge being in possession of an object or spell, in this case the object being the engine.
Which, by the way, is my daughter.
Yeah.
The engine being your daughter.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. That's all laid out in Lord Berkshire's testimony. Very well, Luna. So you can neither confirm nor deny whether your fellow adventurers were under a mind control spell. Is that correct?
I don't know how I could.
Very good.
I'm not,
Nor can you give me a straight answer as to whether everything you have said here today is the truth.
to the best of my, as far as it's in the realm of possibility. Like, I don't know how I could completely tell you that everything is the truth if I wasn't there for every single thing. And observe personally and have evidence.
What I would like to know, Luna, is did you make the choice yourself to come here?
Yes.
And what was your intention once you got here?
Do you mean turn myself in?
No, I mean, once you arrived on Earth, what were you intending to do?
my entire intention this entire time was to get out from under my patron.
Yes. So once you had done that, what were you planning on doing?
That has been my entire life has to get out of under the thumb of my patron. What I do after that just feels like
And that
feels
was
like the rest of my life. I don't know what to tell you. It feels like that's something I'm not able to plan because it being under my patron has been my whole life. So
and that was the goal of your compatriots, was to get out from under your patron. And you don't know what
the
you're
goal
planning
of
on doing after that.
I don't have. All I want is to get out of from under my patron. I want him to leave my family alone and stop threatening me. That is all I care about. I just want my family to be safe.
All right, Luna, unless you have anything else you'd like to say while under the zone of truth, you may step out.
Okay. I leave. Sit down.
Now, your honors, you may notice, after having read Lord Berkshire's testimony, that there is something that I have not been talking about here today. And that is the intention of freeing certain gods from their prisons here on Earth and returning back to the Faerunian Flamers dimension with them. Now, as you all know, we do not handle the crimes against the ministry. That will be handled by the ministry itself. However, I bring it up now because it is directly that testimony that Lord Berkshire gave, the interrogation that she had with Chip, is in direct conflict with what we have just heard from Luna and the story that they were telling beforehand. If in fact, now I could understand having some sort of magical entity, some sort of dark shadow leaning over you, threatening your family. Oh, my heart goes out to her. And if that was her intention in coming here, as she has just testified in the zone of truth, then we can take her at her word for that, and you can decide whether her personal gains are worth the risk to our kingdom, our very planet. But that says nothing to the intention of coming here to free deities from their prisons and return to their dimension. Now that is important. They did not just come here, they meant to return. That, I propose, was their intention. As Chip testified, as Chip told Lord Berkshire, and she has submitted her testimony to that interrogation. I don't suppose there's anything you'd like to speak to that.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to the four of you. Luna, were you ignorant of this plan to free the gods?
It wasn't my plan.
Let me ask the question yet again, and I'll remind you, you are free to lie now that you are outside of the zone of truth.
It's a weird thing to say to me, but okay.
Were you ignorant? Where did this story of freeing the gods come from?
Tark.
Tark, your dead compatriot.
As far as freeing the gods, it was something that Tark wanted.
And Chip, this was not something you wanted?
I wasn't acting on my own accord.
You were not acting on your own accord. Would you be willing to submit yourself to the zone of truth to testify to that?
No.
No. I did not think so.
Last time I was interrogated without having my lawyer or anyone else around. Like, that's my thing, is no one else was around. You're taking her word over a sleepy Chip.
You are correct. I am taking Lord Berkshire's word, the 8th member of the Council of Seven, the forward-facing member of the Council of Seven, the highest public office that we have here in school. Her sworn testimony. I am in fact taking her word. Is there some sort of ulterior motive? Is there some reason that you know of that Lord Berkshire would lie?
I think she lied to me.
To kill us, to get us out of here.
To kill you for what reason?
We're trying to figure that out too.
Ah, I see.
I'll step in the circle if you want me to.
Boy, I don't think that will be necessary. Thank you.
All right.
Well, Council, I think I've made my case. Faerunian Flamers, is there anything you would like to say before I make my final statements?
That we had no intention of. I mean, what you said before about us being these people who would possibly bring in hundreds and thousands of people to follow us has never been our intention. And if it was, we would have already started that and already, like, you would have evidence. I think it's strange for you to present a possibility like that and have zero evidence for it as your own case. And we may have followers because we did something that was, I mean, honestly, we did something pretty incredible that no one else was able to do. And we got a bunch of your memories back, and we did something that, frankly, you guys, you owe us, and you were trying to pay us back. But our other, that you accuse us of bringing in our followers and manipulating them with no proof, with nothing, I find to be outrageous and honestly, a very strange move for a prosecution to do without any evidence at all, just to kind of like assume something like that. I would like for you to see the deeds that we have done that are good and that we have helped out with. We have had a friend die. As you know, I am under, as we all are, under this patron that has been manipulating us. And I think that you should see our actions for what they are. And we, resist arrest, or they resisted arrest. But I think that we have been good to you. And we have done a big service. And I would like you to also see that. God damn it, girl. Take that into account when you're thinking about our verdict.
Well, Your Honors, to say this is a complicated case is an understatement. But let's see if we can simplify it. Now, they propose that they did not resist arrest, despite what Luna just admitting to it. However, she was not there, so I suppose we can discount that statement. But they plead not guilty to resisting arrest in the argument that skeletons are scary and that at the time of their arrest, their arresters were armed, forcing them
Drawn.
to...
Their weapons were drawn.
Chip, if you wouldn't mind. Now is my time to speak.
I just woke up and there were just skeletons, with swords.
Yeah. We've heard your testimony on this.
Yeah, it's like being woken up in the middle of the night and being incredibly unprepared to be interrogated.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yes. So it sucked. So clearly they are not guilty of it.
Well,
Now, as to the charge of escapism, I would remind you that Luna could not give us any straight answers in the zone of truth as to whether or not they had some unknown force possessing them to come here with a ship to free that individual and then escape, of whether or not they were acting of their own volition, of which I believe their testimony reflects that they were. That is for you to decide. I would remind you that Luna's testimony about this patron is in direct conflict with what Chip told Lord Berkshire. Now, as to Lord Berkshire's trustworthiness, all right, which they claim is in question, I would remind you that Lord Berkshire is a very honorable individual and has represented our kingdom and this fine city of New Shadowfell with nothing but honor and dignity. And I cannot think of one earthly reason why why she would want these self-proclaimed heroes. Luna just laid out all of the honorable, great things she did for this king. They did for this kingdom. Why, oh why, would Lord Berkshire put her honor and her role on this council on the line to get these four in trouble? I just can't. I can't think of a reason why, and they could not give one to us. I don't know if I need to pick apart the rest of their arguments. I believe it stands for itself. They've charged. I don't believe the charge of livestock theft comes with any prison time. And since they pled guilty,
Whose animal was that?
the charge was brought forth by a just a little tiny gnomish boy named Jack Finley of the Finley Estates.
I'm gonna find him and I'm gonna kill him.
Did that gnome tell you that he killed that three-tailed dog?
It doesn't matter.
you-
We confess to it.
You pled guilty to that charge. We don't need to dig into it.
We don't need to dig into that at all.
But I would remind the court that this was a tiny little boy. Tiny little gnomish boy.
Hey, I thought we
of
didn't
whom
need
they
to.
stole his
I thought we
puppy.
need to. No,
Yes, we
killed it.
stole his. We. Now you're making us look way worse than it was. We confessed to it. Whether the circumstances were
All
within
right, all
reason
right.
or not is something else entirely, isn't it?
I do apologize.
Now you're.
The prosecution rests. Counsel, I believe you have all the information you need to make your decision. And the large tabaxi gentleman shuffles up his papers, puts them into a little leather-bound briefcase, snaps it shut, and he tips his pipe to you as he walks out.